former science so at Nancy Biona, yes, see NDC for or move super papa, they will cry, they will shed tears, or maybe some befa, but Omunya Bibia Emfa or Muti Emfa. A campaign team member back where Edema Dr. Mahmoud Pomia, Nana Akomia, Edith Atuja. Now, or see for some time now, and over the years, no, NDC for any Ghana for people, Abrande, NPP as an account party. NTO, Obeya no flag bearer no, Omeka Koyi Nipa or Yakan, and now Ofi Ashanti region, normally na bear flag bearer na afidie. Running mates no I not na say other region. Now in fact, now said this time round they are changing the face a better NDC forces in it because as a more that is their strategy to only say well no my that is what me catch the attention of others, but this time round almost no. Or mass where NDC for power with the brand or Mediama a year MPP for Nketia na.
You know, the NPP, we've always suffered from a certain branding from our opponents. Every election after election, they repeat that branding.
What is that? And
the branding is that, this is an Akan party. If you are not Akan, you can't be their leader. You hear them in Accra, when I've experienced it, they tell people that, well, these people, you vote for them, they'll take the sea to Kumasi.
But you're an Akan party.
You have also been fooled. And then they go to the coast, they tell them...
Your evidence shows you are, at least in the leadership of your party.
You hear NDC, like President Mahama, for example, saying that, no, these people, you can't be their leader. They're just using you and all of that. So we suffer that branding.
But it's based on your history.
Now, well,
you accept that.
Okay, so in Dr. Bawumia, we have a good chance to neutralize that branding of the party.
To what? Change the brand from a camp party to what?
Change the brand from a camp party, a party that is all-inclusive. We've always been an all-inclusive party.
You haven't been, at least not at the leadership level. Okay. You haven't been.
So now we have the tool in our hands to change that branding, and that is Dr. Bawumia. So that is an icing on the cake.
Because he comes from the north.
Because he's not a Akan. Now,
but will you be accused of playing the tribal card?
You can interpret it the way you want. We interpret it as changing the brand of the party and giving the party a more inclusive brand that will neutralize the propaganda.
The special electoral college, do they care about that?
Absolutely. Because they care about having a candidate who will win the elections. Now, if you have a candidate like Dr. Bawumia, who would give you a more inclusive branding and will neutralize the NDC's propaganda. How do you define an establishment candidate? Somebody who's got the support of the president?
One.
That's the definition?
He is a vice president. He is the very embodiment of the establishment.
We used to have a vice president who contested in 2008. We didn't call him establishment candidate. Why are we calling this one the establishment? Is it because the president supports him? Because the president himself has come out categorically that I don't support anybody.
Many of them who are sat here with me at that point say they don't believe the president.
Look, do you know Afia Akoto?
Yes.
He's a boyhood friend of the president. Do you know Boachia Jaco?
Yes.
He was the campaign manager for the president of 2 elections.
And then you can now congratulate Japan, who also was a campaign manager of his.
So any of them can have the president's support.
None of them have been his.
Unless the president categorically, sorry.
None of them have
but
been.
If I've said there has been a vice president who was not classified as an establishment candidate. So being vice president automatically doesn't mean you have the president's support. Look, I am an appointee of the president. I support Bawumia. I have told you why. When we go to the campaign, I see a lot of government appointees like myself, and I'm happy. Now, I'm happy that these people are also on the campaign. Now, I do not think any of them is supporting Dr. Bawumia because the president has called them and asked them to do so. How is it possible in the NPP that you can coerce anybody to support a candidate? Can I be coerced? And I take myself as an example.
The president can do.
If you remember, in the period after 2012, in 2008, when he was selected as the running mate, it was barely 5 months to the elections. We didn't see much of him. Then he was repeated as running mate in 2012. Then the NPP was declared the losers in 2012 elections, and the NPP decided to go to court to challenge the results. Now, you had a 3-week window to gather your evidence and file at the Supreme Court. It involves a lot of work, getting all the pink sheets together and doing the analysis and making sure you have a solid case all within 3 weeks before you went to the Supreme Court. And all that work was largely done by Dr. Bawumia in December 2012. And some of us who were part of that effort saw the hard work that the man put in, working day and night, getting the pink sheets together. There were about 25,000 of them, if you remember. And getting all this together, doing the photocopies and doing the analysis of every pink sheet to build a solid case. And we also, when he presented the work that he has done before the Supreme Court, those 8 months when he was the star witness and facing formidable NDC lawyers. We saw the work that he did. And even though the NPP didn't win the court case, there were many changes that came into our electoral system recommended by the judges themselves as a result of the flaws pointed out by Dr. Bawumia. It led to many changes in the electoral system.
So, Adolfo, Yamakuti, Nana Komia, Lenumu, Ensebno. I see NDC for anyone Kaka, Germany, Maham, Asiedu, Nketia, anyone Kaka, winning land, and the piano. Oh, Yenin so, Nipo Bear, a flat baradier, or Bear can. Was it Dr. Amdubo, Biabo, D, any Ubia Eka, no master Dr. Amdubo, Chese, not now. It's not as a indirectly no. Metal Cassette, Dr. Amdubomia, and Yadobinia chance no. Ababe, your friend is a flag bearer, at the armor party. By this time on, Nana Comiase or Besos or surprise NDC for or Besos shock you almost say, or more prime monsieur Mubeyi, Nippon Bay, you know, ever not now. I can't brand the no, Mediama NPP party, I can't brand the no. Nina no, or my papa, or my eraser, or person yes say. Omotre NDC for say MPP a party there all inclusive obia e kan party no ye omo nyenyi mu enka say ai we for nkwa na ebo na say we for nkwa na eko na emo ntisi ano o masesa even if the truth as omo kanu look this time round omo swerve omo de omo ti de yero say sa azemna mo kan zia ne enye sa na ete na emo no kwen say NPP party party dia all inclusive obia obia eka ho enti NDC for enwa boso na omo nyina ho na omo hwe ni omo NPP for this time on na form say rapture papa na akomia desa in same way to dra na once a campaign no oye bi pa ama Dr. Mamudu Bawumia aye say campaign obia ama Bawumia no sa campaign bet me I follow Bawumia deep down to the ballot boxes to aba ama Bawumia no to aba ama no na so man to aba fama ni dia oyiwa na asem kese pa na aba aha na medi mu esi wo Ghana ti fa comments no ewu kimi na making ka enfama o dofus no ni